Hello and welcome back to Betrayal on the Trail, and the second half of the recording session where I lost all of my audio. When we last saw our adventurers, they'd returned to Hegar with the gauntlets, ready to try them on. Upon arriving in town, they noticed a commotion and discovered that there was an attack on a civilian quarter in the city of Acrucium. A dragon had blasted a hole in the city's wall, making a way for beasts to charge in. The party returned to the inn after hearing this news, and they each tried on the gauntlets, finding out that the shape of the gauntlets adapted to the needs of the wearer, and through the use of Identify, they discovered that only currently a portion of the gauntlet's powers were available to them. Trying to figure out who should wear the gauntlets, the party decided to try casting Zone of Truth, and have each member take it in turn saying they're not the traitor. This plan was about to go ahead until an avatar of the trickster god Cyrics materialized in the room, casting a counterspell and warning the party against using magical means to find out who the traitor is. After his departure, the party decided to go their separate ways for the evening, with Marie leaving the room after giving Arabella a look of suspicion, and Cabal challenging 3 to a race to give Arabella a chance to talk to Marie. And that is where we shall continue our adventure. So we're gonna stay with Arabella for the time being. You've just watched the boys just sprint out of the room full speed. What would you like to do?
Assuming we're staying in the same rooms, I'd like to go and knock on Marie's room. It's me.
It's not locked.
Okay, I'll enter. Hi, Marie!
I'm just in the bath with just waiting for it to get warm and the water's like cold, and I'm just like and I'm just kind of like I've got lounge in the sink next to me, and it's just kind of like watching me just like trying like fiddling with the taps basically.
Hi, I thought perhaps we should have a little chat. You gave me a look, if I'm not misreading that. I was just sort of wondering what that was about.
I don't feel like I know anything about you. I feel like I know 3 enough. Get a vibe that 3 is going through something hard and he's not ready to talk about it, and I'm okay with that. I'm just waiting for him to open up is all, and I'm sure he will. Cabal wears his trauma on his sleeve and is fairly open with with things that have happened through general ignorance of how the world works around him, I guess, and it's charming to watch. You, I can't figure out.
Okay, and just out of interest, is that something you've been feeling for a while?
Yeah, ever since the first time I guess we talked about it in the Wisdom Tower.
I just felt that perhaps something might have happened just now. That was just the sort of impression I'd got.
I feel like I was so ready to hear you tell me that you weren't the traitor so I could trust you. I was ready for it. And then he came in. Like it was scripted. Like you were waiting for that. And suddenly a divine get out of jail free card appears on the bed next to you, pats you on the shoulder. Meanwhile, the others seem arguably more fazed by it, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump to conclusions. I don't like jumping to conclusions, but I'm scared.
Okay. No, that's That's an entirely valid conclusion to come to. Let me be honest with you, Marie. You are absolutely right. I am deliberately vague about who I am and where I've come from because there are things that have happened in my past that I am not proud of. And I'll be honest with you, Marie, I am not a good person, but right now with you all, I'm trying to be, and I am trying to make up for mistakes that I have made in the past, and it's possibly selfish of me, but I don't want your condemnation for those things too. But regardless of whether or not you will find out about those things, actually they have no relevance to this particular situation, so far as I am aware.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to trust me because it would be stupid of any of us to completely trust each other. But that's why I don't talk about my past very much.
Okay. I accept that. I understand it's hard. I personally don't. I haven't really been out of the swamp, so I haven't got a thing like that. Like it feels like. So I can't relate on that level, but I don't. And I don't want to push you to talk about it because I don't feel like I want you to want to talk about it when you're ready. And I want to help. You know? I want to make you. I want to get you to a point where. I want to help get you to the point where you feel like you can be open with us. And I agree that like trust is like a in the world that we live in, trust is a currency, and it's something that is kind of works both ways, and I'm just using platitudes, I guess. What I want to do is just kind of try and help, and if you want me to, then that's okay, and I'm ready to listen when you're ready to talk. The bat's warmed up now.
Okay. I can't fix anything that I've done.
That's okay.
Do you think there's a point in confession, so to speak?
Well, doesn't sound like whatever you're doing is healthy either, and it doesn't sound like you've accepted it in your own head, at least. I think you know that you did it, but or whatever you've done, but you haven't lived with yourself since.
I think you know more than you give yourself credit for.
Well, I'm just trying to understand.
Can I ask you something, Marie?
Yeah, sure.
Why were you so strongly opposed to using the Zone of Truth?
Because I kind of like you all. I don't want that to change, you know?
Okay. No. I believe you.
That's all.
I'm gonna go now. I can't talk about this. But...
Okay, you're like, yeah.
But yeah. Another time, yeah?
Of course. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'll leave.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So we leave Marie sitting in a now quiet room alone in the bathtub. And we pan out from the inn onto the streets of Hegar.
Smash cut to a horse and a cat fucking running through a market square.
Tone shifts!
Yeah, you are sprinting down an extremely busy street with all the people lugging around heavy materials, and they are jumping out of your way, dropping stuff as you race down. So, boys, what is your movement speed?
Oh god.
As a warhorse, my speed is 60 feet.
I don't think you can beat that, can you, 3?
Well, my walking speed is 40 feet.
You can if Cabal is not trying to win. Cabal is keeping pace. And occasionally, like, getting close, but Cabal's winning the race. Alright, yeah, Cabal is keeping it close until the last, like, 200 feet. When he's just gonna peel away. But, like, yeah, I am, as much as that, I am, like, trying to keep close to him. So, yeah, I suppose as a warhorse, I'm throwing it. I should have been a riding horse.
Cabal, you do your best to make 3 think that it's an even race. You pull ahead a little bit every now and then, but let him have a little bit of time in the lead, just keeping it as even as possible. 3. You have never ran this fast in your life before. This is incredible. You have seen horses run in the wild, and you have never been able to keep pace with one before, but all of a sudden you've drawn some kind of sprinting energy out of you that's letting you keep pace with one. You tear up shop, giving Cabal a race of his life, and you start coming up to the forest. You see the tree in the distance. You get about 200 feet away from it, and then suddenly the warhorse next to you darts right past you, getting this new speed that you didn't know he had in you, and bolts towards the tree.
As soon as I get to the tree, I de-wild shape. It's like, yes!
Before you do that, I'm gonna give 3 a chance to, if he wanted to try anything, has any tricks up his sleeve for this last 200 feet.
I mean, in theory I can bonus action dash and then use my feline agility. But I don't think it's gonna be enough if there's 200 feet.
I don't think I'd be expecting him to do that though after comfortably racing. I think we could settle that on a flat.
Yeah, give me a flat athletics roll for this last 200 feet.
Yep.
Hell yeah! What's a horse's athletics? It's the same as Cabal's regular athletics. That's Buck. That is a 17 plus 2. That's a 19 from Cabal.
I rolled a 19, I get +2, so 21.
God damn.
So, Cabal, you got this. You know you're gonna win this race. You are confident in your abilities right now.
I'm planning my cool dismount back into Dragonborn form to do the yes as a smooth action.
And you start pulling ahead, ready to beat 3. But as you do, you notice that even though you're running faster, 3 is still right there beside you, running at the same pace, managed to keep up, and you go even faster still. And 3 is still there, right by your side. And you come right up to the tree, and at the last minute, 3 manages to pull ever so slightly ahead, and place his hand out on that tree, winning the race.
I think Cabal as a horse will come to a stop and remain unblinking, like his yellow eyes looking at 3. And then I'll do wild shape back into my own form and be like, "That was very, very well run. 3.
You're faster than you look.
Yes, so are you. It's frustrating because it's a horse, I thought, but you know, there we go. Well, fine. I guess lunch is on me, and I'm going to take 2 lemons out of my pocket. Sit down. I'm going to sit down next to, by the tree and lean down. I'll hold one out, but I will also take out, I think I do actually have some, like, rations. So we're going to take out, like, a bit of, like, dried meat. And like, hold out at such a height to like invite 3 to like sit next to me, basically.
Yeah, I would.
And I'm crunching into my lemon. I'll be a bit like, it's all getting pretty serious back there, isn't it?
Yeah.
3, can I ask you 2 questions?
Sure.
What was your mother like? Or what is your mother like?
She was kind and caring and used to tell me all sorts of stories about the forest and the world. Used to make me want to go out and see it for myself.
And you have.
I'm glad that I have.
I don't have. I must have, but I don't know. I never considered my mother. I was just found in the mouth of a sewer, allegedly. I don't know if there's a word in common for nostalgia or longing for a thing you've never had. And I just wanted to ask, it was all.
Of course. I lost my family, but at least I had them at some point.
I'll, without looking at 3, I'm gonna pat him on the shoulder. Like, you did. And if they were here, they'd be proud of you, no doubt.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stand up and be like, I don't think we're gonna get into any serious action today, so I can probably afford to horse back to the town. You can have a ride if you like, or you can walk. I don't mind. 3, the second question. I'm sorry.
I don't know a whole lot, but I know that you 3 are the closest things I've ever had to friends. And I've heard some things about some of us, and they're not good, but I know that you 3 are my friends.
All my relationships in Elgenheim, largely transactional. Pinky helped me with supplies because I helped with access to the sewers. I've never really been close to people for closeness' sake before. Good. It is good. I'll smile at 3 for a second and then drop the smile and just be like,
3, if it came to it, do you think you could kill Arabella?
I think 3 would just go very kind of quiet and just look down at the ground. I don't know.
These are questions we have to start considering. Do you think you could kill Marie?
I don't know.
I know you don't know. But I need you to know that one day you'll have to. Come on. I'll buy you some fish or something when we get back to town.
And I will wild shape into a horse again and start to trot at a walking pace back towards the town. Like, again, keeping pace with 3 and making it clear that he can. Like, 3 can ride me if he wants to.
I think 3 would just be, kind of walking nearby, keeping pace. And then, we'll just kind of look up and... thanks for letting me win the race, by the way.
So you head back into the streets of Hegar. It's still relatively early in the morning at this point, about 1:30ish, so there's still plenty of time left in the day if any of you want to get up to anything else now.
Actually,
I
yeah.
said we'd have a chat before.
Yeah, on the way back into town, as I get back into town, I want to unwild shape and just say to 3, like,
I'm gonna go run an errand. Got an inquiry to make at a shop. I'll see you back at the inn, 3.
Okay.
I'll nod and turn away, and I would like to. Jay, you know what I'm looking for. I want to find a tinkerer or artificer, please.
So, with a little bit of inquiring around town, managed to hear about a local artificer/tinkerer whose shop is just outside of the market district. They have a store called Murky Waters. As you throw the doors open to this shop, the first thing that hits you about it is the smell. It is absolutely reeking of oil and rusted bits of metal, masked ever so slightly by the scent of very strong coffee. So you look around the place, you note that it is littered with discarded pieces of metal and half-made contraptions. The piles occasionally make a ticking noise from what you can assume are long-abandoned inventions. These piles have been pushed to either side of the room in order to make a pathway to the workbench/cash register. The workbench itself is a large, sturdy, wooden table, although it does seem to have had a corner of it blasted off. Behind the workbench is a half-elven woman. She seems to be hammering away at this strange copper box. She has frizzy blonde hair that's been tied into a bun at the top of her head, a set of large goggles covering her face, and a leather belt across her front that's covered in all kinds of tools. After about a moment or two of you standing there, she finally acknowledges you and tosses the cube over to one side and is like, "Oh, a customer! Welcome to Murky Waters. My name's Isabella." She holds out a hand for you to shake. It is absolutely drenched in oil.
Cabal does not care. And it would just be like,
Cabal, I was wondering if you might be able to help me. I'm looking for...
and I'm going to take my bin lid shield and plonk it down and be like,
I'm potentially interested in refurbishing this my trusty shield. reinforcing it, perhaps, or I don't know, making it cool. I don't know what you tinkerers do, put lights on it or make it buzz or something.
I could certainly figure something out. I mean, it's a very rudimentary object, but I could make it shoot fire out the side if you want. I once made a sword shoot fire out of it. Would you like to see my sword that shoots fire?
I mean, yes, although I should warn you, I don't want that for my shield.
She turns towards one of the large piles of metal and practically dives in head first, rummaging through it. She throws all these old inventions over her shoulder until her hand eventually stops on the hilt of a blade. She pulls it up. It's a long sword that seems to have had these oil canisters attached to the hilt of it. She clicks a button on the sword and these oil canisters spray oil across the blade of this sword. And as they do, a little bit of flint rock sparks, setting the entire blade on fire. There we go! Oh, I can't believe it actually worked and all. There we go, fire sword, cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, that...
I tried selling this to the Yakushian military, but they said it was too risky, had too high a chance of the oil barrels exploding in your hands. But that's just cowardly, isn't it? All good fights have an explosion.
I mean, the few that I've been in, yes.
Exactly. Oh, I wish the Yakushian military were here now. They'd look like fools. Anyway, thanks for indulging me on that. I'll pop this to one side. And she starts violently shaking the sword up and down, trying to put out the fire.
I think Cabal has already kind of decided that this is not the right route to go. He's a bit like, because I'm looking around, remembering the gift shop experience, and thinking, I need to buy something so I can get out. Is gonna look about and be like,
do you have any, I don't know, do you have a toy for a cat?
Sure. How big a cat we talking?
I'm gonna do this, but then be like,
5'6", I think.
Ah, okay, a TABAXI.
He's short, yes. He's, mainly uses his hands.
I think I've got the perfect thing for you. And she's gonna turn around and leap back into her scrap metal pile, picking up random pieces of metal, and it becomes apparent she did not have a thing for you. She picks up these two circular pieces of metal and slams them together, pulls out what appears to be some metal wire, and starts wrapping it around the middle of these two metal circles. She picks up these jagged pieces of metal, welds it around the edges of the two circles, comes back, slams it down on the workbench, looking very proud of herself. And as she takes her hand away, she seems to have made what appears to be a steel yo-yo. So the concept I sort of went with this is a sort of toy weapon hybrid. You know, your friend can be stood around enjoying his yo-yo, throwing it up and down. But if a goblin came into range, he can kind of whip it around, slash the goblin up all nasty like, whip it back again, and he's still got his yo-yo to play with. It's supposed to be, you know, a sort of versatile sort of thing, but if it's a little bit too dangerous for your blood, I reckon I could maybe attach a feather to a string if you'd like that.
No, this is ideal. How much for this thing you just crafted in front of me?
I mean, I didn't use up that many resources making it, so I reckon I could part with it for 15 gold pieces, if that's alright.
Cabal takes out his 350 copper, but it's like,
Could you, convert? No.
I will get my 15 gold pieces.
Right, bye. Then turn on my heel and leave.
And head back to the inn. As I arrive back, I'll knock on Three's door first.
Hello?
And then I'm gonna open the door and start
think fast
and throw the and throw the yo-yo at you.
3. Make a dexterity save.
I'm not firing the yo-yo, I'm throwing the whole thing bodily.
It's still an extremely dangerous
Yeah,
object
I mean,
to throw, though.
it's still a death blow.
That's a 22.
Yeah, so you managed to swipe this yo-yo out of the air. And yeah, you now have a steel yo-yo.
Cool. I'm just gonna look down and inspect it with like a kind of curiosity in my eyes, and then just kind of look up to Cabal a little bit confused.
I'll simply smile at that and close the door. So next up, I am gonna go knock on Arabella's door.
It's open. Come in.
I'll come in and shut the door and like sit on the bed and be like,
The cat won. Yeah, like a surge of strength, a surge of speed at the end. Very frustrating.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Ms. Plum, what do you know of dreams?
Well, I can't say that I've ever studied them extensively. It wasn't my field of magic, but I'm aware that they can have poignant meaning, especially for spellcasters. Why are you having odd dreams?
I've had a new dream. When we were in the Shadowfell, when we slept in the room after finding
the portrait. I'll take out the rolled portrait from my pocket and like wave it a bit. No.
I had a dream that I was a child, an infant. There were other dragon, and it's not to say that maybe the portrait of seeing it had seeded in my mind, but they were dragonborn, and something about taking me away from my father. I don't know if I've invented this from whole cloth and sadness, or whether it's a real buried memory that I've unlocked.
Yeah.
I know very little of dreams. I have remarkably few. I just wondered if there had been anything in any of the books you've read that might be...
And Cabal looks like he's having difficulty, and then it's like...
that might help me.
So, it's quite possible for dreaming to be used as a kind of divination. It's not an uncommon practice in spellcasting. Usually there has to be some kind of strong trigger for it. It's unusual to do it accidentally, except that in this particular instance we were in the Shadowfell, where things don't work exactly the same as they do normally. So I think it's quite possible, Cabal, that what you had was either some kind of vision or possibly a memory. It could be metaphorically something that your subconscious or something else is trying to tell you, without being a literal memory. As for helping you, I mean, there are ways to induce that state in this world. I mean, we could go to the College of Magic and see if we can find someone who specializes in divination magic. See if we could recreate the what's the conditions.
The Academatorium, I hadn't thought of that. That's a very good idea.
We'll say, do you think it has something to do with that painting? I don't mean to pry, I just saw that you had a kind of emotional reaction to it.
Cabal hesitates for too long to deny it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah.
I think I saw her. I think the woman holding me was my mother. And I believe...
And I'll unroll the painting for the first time in this and keep like looking at her and tap the thing. Like,
she was telling her to take me to safety, away from my father.
See. I suppose you have any memory of your parents?
Cabal will roll up the thing while shaking his head and just be like,
No. The only, the earliest memories I have are of Sir Geoffrey bringing me books, teaching me how to speak common. Nothing outside the sewer.
Well, do you know where you learned Sylvan?
I mean, not really.
Yeah.
fidget slightly and just be like,
You're just like the rats of the sewers, the pigeons were speaking to them. They would reply
and Cabal will do like a sad smile and be like,
Father Geoffrey told me I was going mad. I don't really understand where a lot of my powers come from.
and I'm gonna cast, as I do that, I'm gonna cast Druidcraft in my hand. And I want to use the effect on that like predicts tomorrow's weather. So, you know, like it's a little ball that is like either like sunlight or rain or thunder. I just want to like hold my hand out to like whatever it is like miniature weather.
You have a small ball of sort of mild spattering of grey clouds.
And then in Sylvan, I'll say to Arabella, like,
I just know what I know.
I'll reply in Sylvan. It's just a hypothesis, Cabal, but possibly your past has something to do with the Feywild and the Shadowfell. I mean, it's unusual for you to know Sylvan, and the fact that you had potentially a prophetic dream the first time you went to the Shadowfell, that could be important.
I agree.
Hmm.
And I've
never. And Cabal's gonna stand up and like shuffle his feet a little. A physical reaction to him having to deal with emotions in a way that he simply never really has, and consider questions that a lifetime of isolation has allowed him to never bother with. And people are like,
I just... Yeah, anything's possible. I could be... They could be Feywild powers, or maybe whatever creature or monster spawned me was from there, and this is all a trick. I mean, we met a literal god of trickery today. How can I?
And again, like visibly uncomfortable, Cabal will like move towards the door and just be like,
Thank you for listening, Ms. Plum. Well, we should all have an evening, reconvene in the morning. You and
Anytime, Cabal.
as I open the door, I'll stop for a minute and then be like,
You said words to a ghost who was praying to a god. And it stopped. I think it may have been the greatest thing I've ever seen.
and immediately walk out of the door and close it. Marches back to his room and goes straight under the bed. It's just like Sven tries to go to sleep.
That's all the time we've got for this week's episode. But before you go, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave us a like if you liked what you just saw, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss out on any of the adventure.